Hi, and welcome to This Week in Baltimore Eating with Richard Alec. Join us here every Thursday at 12:30 to talk about everything food-related in Baltimore. I am Amanda. You are very familiar with Richard. We have a special guest with us today. We are joined today by author Shelley Howell. She wrote Dining Down Memory Lane, which we have here with us. Welcome, Shelley.
Thank you for having me, Amanda and
you.
Richard.
Oh, we're so glad you're here. Let's read the subtitle. So it's Dining Down Memory Lane, a collection of classic Baltimore restaurants and their recipes. So,
Yes.
isn't that fun?
It's so much fun. No, it is super
and we
fun.
told people about it, and then they would say, "Oh, I hope it has such and such a recipe,"
Right.
and it usually did.
It did.
Like
You
9 times
played
out of
with
10.
me as soon as you got
Yep.
as soon as you got a copy of this book, you came in with it, and I was like,
The first thing you said was, "I hope it has the sweet potato soup recipe." from
the
Garden."
very first thing I said, and you opened to that page, and there it was. Good job, Shelley.
Thank you.
You knew
Thank
I
you.
needed that. Me and like half of Baltimore really needed that.
And then it has from Louis Bookstore Cafe, which is a favorite place
You
of
have
mine.
to have
the
Louis.
Chicken Chestertown and a black bottom pie. Yeah, you did really well in getting these recipes. And
Thank
each
you.
chapter, it's divided up by neighborhood. first.
Neighborhoods, yes.
So
I
those-
work from the south of Baltimore up to North Baltimore County.
Like that way it's done there. And then by restaurant. And then you introduce the restaurant to
Right.
people that might not know about it.
Right.
So we like that too.
We love it. So tell us about the process.
Yeah.
And like how did you figure out that Baltimore needed this? Because Baltimore clearly did.
Well, it's interesting because I didn't quite figure out how it evolved until I really gave it some thought. At first, I just thought it was, as I put, I believe in the preface, like my middle age. But what happened was I had moved away from Baltimore, and for many years.
People think they can move away from Baltimore.
They don't. They
Well,
always come back.
I do have a good
Always.
excuse. I got married to a non-Baltimorean, and he was I married him in Baltimore, actually. But anyway, long story short, I did move away for many years, and I moved back permanently in 2005. And basically, I had been so homesick and was really looking forward to coming back. And Baltimore, in many ways, was the same, but the restaurant landscape was entirely different for me.
Yeah.
I mean,
True. True.
everything in my book was no longer, and
Oh my gosh.
for the most part, at any rate. And I just hated to see it disappear. It was a part of me. And so I went in search of a publication out there that might have a collection, much like I wrote. I couldn't find it. And so over the course of years, I began collecting these restaurant recipes. And one day I realized that I was sitting on quite the treasure trove.
Yeah.
You
and
were.
I really wanted to, I felt like I needed to and wanted to share it with Baltimoreans.
Well, thank you for that, and thank
You're
you for coming
welcome.
back. Baltimore's glad you're back.
Thank you.
And Amanda, sometimes, and Shelley, sometimes the recipes are from the chef or from the kitchen or from a direct source.
Correct.
But sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're from a reliable, tested newspaper source. Sometimes
Exactly.
Explain how the Baltimore Sun would sometimes solicit recipe.
Well, I don't know if they still have it, but I know that they had a column called Recipe Finder.
Yes, I
And
remember Recipe Finder.
So that was one of my, definitely one of my primary sources, but I'm really big into vintage, and I enjoy thrifting, and one of the things I came across was some of these recipe books that are maybe put out by churches as
Garden
a fundraiser.
clubs
I would go into the thrift stores and occasionally just score a real coup and find something out of the 70s, and I'd have fun going through them and would occasionally find a restaurant recipe. So there are a variety of sources that I was able to find them. Some out-of-print books for certain. eBay, was great to me, especially for the matchbooks and some of the
love
artwork
your
in the book.
Mm-hmm. She's got photographs of some vintage matchbooks in here, and I just moved to Timonium this summer, and I was at an antique show and I found a bunch of like old Timonium businesses matchbooks, so I bought all of them because I don't smoke, but I had to have them, and I keep them out on my little sun porch in an ashtray.
That's really funny because I don't smoke either, but I've been collecting, besides the matchbooks, these old like desktop lighters and just really neat things like that.
The graphics are incredible.
Yeah. I'm going to just read out some of the recipes from, for instance, people are probably Hausner's, of course.
Yeah,
I don't think you could have done the book without Hausner's.
No. And thankfully I did. I was able to get there at least once.
Oh yeah, I never ate there. It was there when I could have, but I just never went in.
Right.
I'd say twice for me.
Yeah.
It was not a big
I wanted to see the art collection mostly.
So from Hausner's alone, strawberry pie, Hausner's crab imperial, sauerbraten, shrimp Charles, Smithfield ham and crab sauté, creamed spinach, sweet and sour dressing, and crouton-filled potato dumplings, German potato salad, all from Hausner's alone.
Whoa. You score. That's like a treasure.
Dinner party.
See, that's what I want people to do with this book. One, I want people to start a dining club where they take turns making each recipe.
That would be fun.
Like, I really want that. Someone out there, if you're watching and you want to do that, tell us, because we want to be involved. I call dibs on the Marduk's sweet potato soup. I'm making that. I'm ready to make that. But also, I feel like you could do all kinds of fun old Baltimore
with a wonderful group of friends. I think you could have such a fun evening having this retro dinner party. Definitely,
totally.
Yeah. And actually, I did a book signing, and a gentleman came up to me, and he's a member of a local club, and he and his friends are planning to do just that. So I'm anxious to hear how.
We want to hear from him.
Yes, definitely.
It's a great time of year for dinner parties. People want to be inside.
No one ever invites me to theirs. I don't know if they think I'm not going to make something or what. Like, I know all these people who have soup clubs, and I'm never invited. I'm like, I will make you a soup.
Soup clubs.
Invite me.
I never heard of that.
I think that, if I might add, I think a really fun dessert to do, which would be really simple and last minute, would be the Cherries Jubilee. I think that would be a blast.
I just saw that. And where was that from?
That was from the Chesapeake.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the classic Chesapeake.
And the flames. Jubilee always means like flambe, flaming.
Yeah.
That's fun.
With some really good ice cream on the side.
We were going to inevitably turn to some recipes that are going to be in volume 2 if there's a volume 2.
Yes, we want a sequel.
And now that we've got publicity, we're doing some publicity tour. What do we want for the next volume? Things you couldn't find.
It's definitely an endless pursuit for me, and it's kind of like every single time I come across a single recipe, it's like a gem, and that's why I say the book the collection as a whole is very much a treasure trove. But as I say, it is an endless pursuit, and I have come across quite a few really significant signature recipes. So if there is a desire for a volume 2, who am I to...
Yes, please. Everyone raise your hands. Can I tell you the 2 I'm done? Yeah. I need to have in here?
Please do.
All right, first of all, Gampy's. Come on.
Gampy's.
Gotta have Gampy's.
Monte Cristo sandwich.
Believe me, I spent many late evenings at Gampy's. I loved Gampy's. And if somebody out there has that Monte Cristo recipe, please share it with me on my Facebook author page. I would absolutely love that.
So the Monte Cristo is a very flamboyant sandwich. It's a deep fried sandwich, isn't it? Served with a warm raspberry sauce.
I don't think I ever ate it.
And I think it
I
had
thought about it a lot.
I never ate it. I was very big on their potato skins, and I think they did a breakfast potato skin where they had like eggs in there. I was big on that at Gampy's.
I worked at Gampy's briefly.
Everyone did. That's like that's what I mean. That's one of those places in this town.
Great.
Gampy's was great. And you do, props because you do include Louis, which is a must.
Oh, definitely.
So Louis is in here, people. If you've been missing Louis, like I have every day of your life since they left, you can get a recipe in here. But my second thing was Morning Edition.
Morning Edition.
Yeah.
Now that's
Patterson Park.
that
I
I'm
miss
not
that place.
familiar
What was
with.
it? What dishes there?
I don't know. They used to make they would make bake like a banana bread or a zucchini bread, like just to put in the bread basket. It was off of Patterson Park. I don't even remember exactly where it was.
Was it brunch or not dinner?
And the lines would be out the door, and it was really slow. Like they would
Super
tell you
slow.
on the menu, you're gonna wait. Like if you're ordering an omelet, you're gonna be here. A while.
It was absurd. I love adorable, but they had
Loved
2
Morning
burners in
Edition.
the
But
kitchen.
they must have had something that was like a signature for them.
I'm sure they
We'll see.
did.
Yeah.
All right, what about you, Richard? What do you think we need in our sequel?
Oh, it's a great question. A couple more, like Gampy's was a big one.
Yes.
But there are really no
Gampy's is
restaurants that stood out because you got Maison Marconi
Yeah.
and Martix.
And
Right.
Jean-Yves, like
Jean-Yves.
everything I kept thinking of you had. I was like, oh, I bet she doesn't have the golden arm. And guess what? You did. Again, that's a must in Baltimore because it's Johnny U and everyone's
And then
got to
there
have
are-
their cult, their
There are
Sure.
a few restaurants that are beloved and missed, like Burke's, but I don't think Burke's had any signature
But I
dishes.
would kill to get their onion ring
rings.
recipe.
Aha. Well, there you go.
Absolutely. I
I was
mean, there's
thinking-
got to be something to it.
There's got to be for it to have been that good and that memorable.
I never had.
Oh
I
my
don't even
gosh.
think I ever went to Burke's. Was
That's
Burke's
what
the
made
ones
me
with the
love
fortune
onion
tellers?
rings.
What was the place that had the fortune tellers?
It'll be.
Does anyone know?
I know what it is, but
That wasn't Burke's.
No.
It was something else though. Like
it was on Liberty Street. It'll take me
I
a few
went
minutes.
there once for like a Halloween. Like you would just go sit in a booth and then fortune tellers would come by.
Well,
I know
that
just
sounds
where it was,
interesting.
but I can't remember. The name will come.
I don't remember.
If I don't
Maybe
think
I was
about it,
gone
the name
during
will
that
come.
time.
Yeah,
Maybe.
that might have been when you got taken away from
Yes.
us. So what, as growing up, what was your
Yeah.
go-to spot? What was the thing you're most nostalgic for? What are you missing the most?
Well, I mean, I was very fortunate in that we went out as a family fairly often, and we went to repeat restaurants, but we also varied the restaurants. So the ones that come to mind, maybe that I frequented more often than not, would be Pierce's Plantation. I just loved that whole ambiance and location and food, and it was terrific. And then the Chesapeake, that's really my earliest memory of fine dining.
I think
and
for
that
a whole generation
Yeah.
hit them like that.
And the Pimlico, but Pimlico was different.
Pimlico. It was
I
like a
never got to
family
go
affair.
to the original. I was only able to go to the Pikesville
The
location.
Palmer House.
That was the fortune place?
Yeah.
Palmer
And I
House.
just thought of another place that needs to be included.
Okay.
Morgan Millard.
Okay, I actually have found a few recipes for
Ah,
Morgan
very
Millard.
good.
Okay,
Very
that's
good,
going in the
Amanda.
sequel.
Okay.
That's
We're
a,
very
people
nostalgic.
loved Morgan Millard.
Yeah.
What did I used to eat there? I used to go all the time. What was the thing? Was it
I
a
never went.
salad or a soup?
I never went.
Oh, I loved Morgan
And you know
Millard.
now, like this you wouldn't have dreamed, but now we want some Donna's recipes.
Oh,
Now the
the
Donna's
roasted veggies, of course, or
just
even
vegetables or
yes.
Easy,
Oh,
that's an
we
easy
need a
recipe.
second gen. We need point 2.0. Let me interrupt real fast.
Yeah.
If you are just joining us, you are watching This Week in Baltimore Eating with Richard Alec. We are joined by our special guest, Shelley Howell, author of Dining Down Memory Lane. Like, share, comment, and follow us at #JMoreEating. Tell us all about the iconic Baltimore recipes you most crave and the places you still love going.
published by Baltimore Memory Lane Publishing. Anyone you wanted to just acknowledge? Or?
Well, that's me. I am Baltimore
Oh.
Memory Lane Publishing,
go.
but I certainly want to acknowledge Fat Cat Studios, which is a local Baltimore graphic arts company.
Oh.
And they did a fantastic job on the
Yeah,
book,
they
I
did.
The
think.
book is beautiful. Steve Raskin is here. That's your friend and your
Yes.
cousin.
Yes.
You guys know somebody in
Yes.
common. He said he's reminding you of the fantastic destination you go to for Thanksgiving.
That's right.
What might that be?
Mac's my boyfriend, and for the last several years, the Raskins, Nancy and Steve, have had us over for
Oh, I've
a
heard about this
really
Thanksgiving. Haven't I?
terrific
No.
Thanksgiving
Oh, I
dinner.
haven't?
No.
Oh.
I go to a different
it's great.
Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay.
It ends in
Entertainment
a
and all.
hootenanny. Yeah.
hmm Yeah, the guys pick up their instruments and sing and play, and it's just everyone looks forward to it.
Steve and Nancy Raskin are great hosts, and they've got a beautiful house out in northern
Parkton,
Baltimore
I believe.
County. Parkton. And it's almost a little stage they have.
It is. It's wonderful.
Oh, thanks, Steve.
Yeah, thank you, Steve.
Hi, Steven.
Hi, Steve.
I just published that photo. Steve was in that photograph that I published.
Oh,
on
that's
Facebook.
an amazing photo with the shirt. What are you wearing? It was like yellow
show you.
taxi
Okay.
cabs? What was
I think
that?
they were comic taxi cabs.
Oh, best shirt ever. I would kill you for that shirt right now. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's an insider comment. Okay, what else do you want to tell us about this book or about your restaurant memories?
Well, I think basically what I want to talk about the book is that the parameters that I set for the book were primarily, it had to be a restaurant that I'd actually been to at least one time.
Oh, that's fair.
So, in other words, I'm just putting it out there because a lot of people, there's some older restaurants like Miller Brothers,
Then House of Welsh.
House of
and
Welsh, and I am,
Right.
and believe me, I am familiar with these former restaurants. However, I just felt like I could do a better job if I had a personal experience. And this is my first book, so I
I
really,
completely get that.
Yeah.
It makes sense, and that's good for people to know.
Right.
As they start to harass you about
Yeah,
I know. Are you getting a lot of comments on Facebook? Like, where's my blah?
for the most part, I just get really wonderful commentary on Facebook. But I do understand, that there are a whole other generation of restaurants, and I don't mean to leave them out. But as I say, at least in my first book, I felt my focus needed to be on establishments where it actually had a dish, or not that I've had every single dish in the book. I have not, but
No.
But I felt like that was a starting point for me.
That makes sense to me, Shelley. It really does.
Yeah, so you had to start somewhere. I mean,
Right.
you had to figure out how you were going to.
Where do you want people to get this book? Do you have any preference?
Well, actually, locally, it is sold at Eddie's.
Good.
It's sold in Beckett Hitch, which is over at Green Spring Station, and I believe it's over on Falls Road at the Ivy, and certainly it's available on Amazon, and it's really available online at most places where you can purchase books.
You should get
Okay,
it in the,
we will. I'll add
Maryland
that.
Historical Society. Let's
That
get
would
it
be
in
a
there.
great, in their gift shop. That'd be
That would
great.
be-
Are you guys
Let's do that.
listening? We want the book there.
Make that happen.
Yeah, I will add that list there. Somebody asked me about a week ago where to get it, and I sent them the Amazon link. But
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I basically published with Amazon as well as what's known as Ingram Spark, and Ingram Spark is where the book is distributed to booksellers as well as libraries. So I don't always know who has the book in stock
I see.
unless I'm doing the stocking. So, which is
Right.
the case with, say, Eddie's.
and do you have some appearances coming up?
I actually do. I have a signing down on St. Paul Street at Barnes & Noble, Johns Hopkins.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's coming up on, I believe, Sunday, March the 10th, and I don't know the time frame, but it'll be in the afternoon, probably 1 to 3.
Okay, check that out.
And I have another one coming up at a gift shop called The Black Eyed Susan that's located out in Glendon, and that is scheduled for April the 6th. And that one is also, I want to say, something like maybe 12 to 3.
Okay, everyone look those up. How can people find you on Facebook?
I do have a Facebook author page, so I believe it's Facebook Shelley Howell Author.
Okay,
And
so
Shelley with 2 E's.
Yes.
2 L's. Two. Oh yeah,
L-
two. Yes.
L-L-E-Y.
Two of every.
Don't leave out the second E.
That was complicated.
This has been great. Thanks,
Yes.
Shelley Howell,
Well, thank
author
you.
of Dining Down Memory Lane, a collection
we
of
love
classic
it.
Baltimore restaurants and their recipes.
You did a great job.
Thanks for having me.
Everyone needs to pick this up. You have been watching This Week in Baltimore Eating with Richard Alec. Thanks to our guest, Shelley Howell, with all the L's and all the E's, author of Dining Down Memory Lane, for joining us today. Pick up a copy now. For more food fun, sign up for This Week in Baltimore Eating newsletter at jmoreliving.com/newsletters. Have a great week.
Have a great week, everybody, and great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.